What's up, guys? Ignore my scuffed webcam we got going on. When I make it smaller, it'll be better. But I told you guys I'd make a video over how to go ahead and get your Rhok'delar weapons going on when you get your leaf, and you already have your sinew, I would assume. So I went ahead and recorded and clipped the 4 bosses that you have to kill by yourself. So I figured we'd just run through these highlights real quick just to give you the gist of what it is. That way you don't have to look through a million videos and Wowhead and things like that, and what does work and what doesn't work and what's right and that kind of thing. I'll go ahead and put these 4 links that I've got for all the different ones in the description below for you guys as well. But I went and put them in order here of how easy versus how difficult they are. So this first one, what I did is I went ahead and I don't think I ever opened my map here. But what's going on is in Un'Goro, you can look up the pathing if you want, but where the big lake is, it'll be on the western side. The boss ends up padding over there, right? So the goal is to kite them around the lake. One thing I found out in this one is that what you would intentionally want to do is you want to lay down your trap and pull the girl into the trap, and that way you're 1v1ing the pet. And you're going to 1v1 the pet until the pet's dead. And what I learned from doing this is that she actually, like, de-aggroes, but the pet remains with you. So you can actually 1v1 the pet and just outrange her, and she never does anything. And then you can go back and restart the fight again with no pet this time, and then just 1v1 her, and you're completely fine. So there's a little bit of mechanic to every single one here. So what I'm going to do is I got my hunter's mark on the pet because then I'm going to kill the pet. I got my trap down and ready to start fighting the girl here. As you can see, I'm running my nature resistance aspect here, and then I have nature resistance potion on and a little agility elixir. So I try, for the most part, I think in a lot of these fights, is like all about your mana conservation. And Serpent Sting, don't let anybody in raid tell you otherwise, okay? Is like your go-to ability for a lot of these fights, is just draining things with Serpent Sting. So this fight here, as you can see, I'm literally just going to kite this guy as much as I can and let Serpent Sting do as much work as I can. So every time I don't have Conch shot up, he's going to get in range. I'm going to end up wings are hard. Wing clipping him and just going ahead and cutting him out. He doesn't do anything major. Let's see if I can skip ahead to see if the girl... you'll have, obviously, the audio of me actually doing this if you do watch the clips. So there could be like a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown of what I'm doing in the moment, if that does help you. But anyway, I go ahead and kill Precious here. And then I head back to her. I'm going to go ahead and reset. Re-drink. Looks like we didn't have Dire Maul food up back then. So I'm going to end up touching this girl. Probably phrasing. And I'm going to kite her around the lake. There was one mechanic with her. And that is, every time she goes to cast, I believe you just Viper Sting her and it silences her. I think that's the mechanic for this boss. I'm going to verify that here in a sec, but otherwise, as you can see, it's literally just kite, 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 kite. You guys will probably have better gear than I did when I did these fights. Yeah, there it is. See if I have a brain. Yeah, okay. So as you saw, she was casting like lightning bolt or something, chain lightning at me. And when I Viper Stung her, it actually just silenced her. So that's the mechanic for this fight, is just Viper Stinger. See, boom, she's casting, interrupt with Viper Sting. So you're just going to go ahead and do that, and then when she gets close, you're going to wing clip, and you're going to run away and continue doing the same thing. That's it. This is the easiest one. You're just going to rinse and repeat that until she is gone. The next one I thought was the second easiest was the Burning Steps one. Some people will disagree and say that Winterspring is probably easier. The reason I think Winterspring is not easier is because ideally you definitely, in my opinion, need a group to help clear a path for you, which you'll see why I say that later. It isn't guaranteed depending on how long you're willing to wait for him to go. But so this one, the only difficult thing about this, and if you look up the pathing for this guy, you can see he has just a little path. There goes my water bottle. I think it is in the southwest part of Burning Steps. And there's this little crater. So I kite up and down and around and, you know, on the little mountains and that kind of thing around this crater. Because one thing you got to keep in mind, I know Peely I worked with on this, is that when you're... Oh, I probably have volume on. Whoops. When you're kiting a mob, like level 1 to level 60, doesn't matter, right? If you're going from point A to point B, there's a distance. Now, if you go from point A to point B and there's a mountain in between, you can shoot through that, no problem, because you can shoot through walls. But the mob has to now travel up, and although they're going technically like the same distance, they're traveling a farther distance, right? So it creates more space. That's why these elevations it's nice to use. So the one mechanic here is working with Scorpid Sting. So you'll see that he gets enraged. And when he gets enraged, you Scorpid Sting him in order to make him not enraged. So really, the only thing you're doing here is just constantly trying to kite and do damage, but you need to time when you're going to go ahead and wing clip or concussive shot, because he will start chunking you if you allow him to touch you while he's enraged. So you can definitely recover from it without issue, right? But that's one thing you'll understand after a few go-arounds here about how the timers of his enrage actually work. So you can actually start timing like, okay, I got 2 shots in here. I need to get in melee range now so I can wing clip him so I can get back out of range when his enrage is going to happen. You don't want him to enrage and then just free run at you, and then you know, have to wing clip him and eat 2 enrage hits to get out and then Scorpid Sting him. So that's it. That's all there is to it. Boom, enrage, boom, Scorpid Sting, back to being a normal guy. The end. So just rinse and repeat. You guys look at the pathing down. There's not much else to this one, honestly. It's just really handling your enraged stuff. Here, I think I was using, I want to say that's the Demon Slaying one. There's some flask on the auction house you can get. Some resistances, the Demon Slaying ones where you get extra attack power against Demon Slaying things. That's a little bit more ideal. This one people say you need shadow resistance and stuff for. I think this is the one. It's irrelevant. If he touches you, you wipe. So ignore everything it says about consumables. I don't think you technically need any kind of consumables until the last one. But this is the one in Winterspring, and you'll see why I had people with me. Thank you guys for coming with me to get a path cleared. So I started him in the very, very north. What is that? East? Directions are hard. Northeast section, right to the east of where it says Frost Saber Rock is where he spawns. You'll see 2 horde NPCs that don't attack you, and he'll spawn there. It's a little Tauren, I think. And he'll walk and path a little bit to the west, and then it's pretty much straight south. But I started him there and had people clear out the tigers, and this is what we did for Peely as well. And we clear out the tigers and let him get to the road that leads toward the center of Winterspring. And you ever look, you'll see what I mean when I'm starting to get to the point. So I always start with trap, re-mana, and then I'll go ahead and rapid fire just to get some shots going. So your whole goal here is playing within a range. So if you get too far away from him and don't attack him quick enough, you're going to de-aggro him. And if you get too close to him, where he can actually cast anything, which is an instant cast, you die. So if you are in range of auto-attacking him, then more than likely you are just about too close. And if you can't use literally anything at all on him throughout the entirety, then obviously you're too far. So like I said, ignore the raid talk. The way you're going to kill this boss is by Serpent Sting and kiting with Concussive Shot. You basically, the only things you really want to use, you can use Distracting Shot, Arcane Shot, rank 1, and then max rank your Serpent Sting, and then you're going to Concussive off cooldown. The only time I would ever recommend doing anything else would be an auto and a multi, when and only when Concussive Shot hits. So keep that in mind. As you can see, I got to the road now. Now I'm just straight shooting home. So I'll be continuing to rank 1 Arcane Shot to make sure I keep that pressure on him. If you're not keeping some kind of like damage on him, he will de-aggro. Otherwise, yeah, this is it. This is it. I mean, I'm just Serpent Stinging, Concussive Shot on cooldown. Don't get too far to range. I know he's slowed. This is just giving you time to allow your Serpent Sting to go. I need to reapply Serpent Sting. Should do that right there. Boom. That's it. That's all there is to it. You're going to get really frustrated with this while you're learning what I'm talking about that range that you can play within. But otherwise, yeah, just make sure nobody ever helps you. Don't let them touch the boss. Don't let them help you. Your pet can't help you. Just keep that in mind. If any of those things do, he will despawn. They're all on 15-minute respawn timers, and they all stay alive for 15 minutes. So if you wipe, get your ass back there and go again, because you still are on timer. If it's like, well, it despawns in 30 seconds, I may as well not. No, try it again, keep going. Again, if you have people there to help you, it's going to be way more ideal. Buffs obviously help in any way, shape, or form, or having somebody there to soulstone you in case you wipe, or having somebody to res you and top you off so you don't have to spend time healing, save your bandages, that kind of thing. That's way more ideal. So this is the last one. By far the hardest one in Silithus here. I did this pre-nerf. They ended up nerfing it. The only way that he would stay within like aggro radius of you, like again, if you go too far, then he just despawns and resets. So in order to do that, they made it where now by attacking his bugs that he spawns, he stays in aggro. He doesn't de-aggro, I should say. That wasn't the case when I did it. I also didn't have a warlock. So ideally you have a warlock here that will duel you before you fight. And he'll put a curse on you or whatever the hell it is that makes it so you can't be feared. Because this guy fears you. And welcome to RNG pathing that I dealt with. If he fears you way out of range, you lose the fight. If he fears you into the bugs, you die, you lose the fight. It's very unfortunate. But other than that, he's someone's bugs. Don't let the bugs touch you. And like I was telling Peely is, don't imagine you're kiting the boss. The boss is inevitably going to get to you. You're kiting the bugs. So you want to do whatever kind of pathing you have to group the bugs up. And I wouldn't worry about damaging the bugs either. This is a big mana war. So don't ever let the bugs touch you. Always min-max your efficiency of how you're shooting. And as you can see, I'm starting in the mountains here. So playing with those ranges I was telling you about is kind of ideal. I ended up having a priest here instead of a warlock. Thank you, Holy Jedi. Shadow resist was all I could do. So I had a higher chance of resisting those fears. And then he also does an instant cast, essentially like a shadow bolt that chunks you for like a third of your health. Again, gear depending. So I was using shadow resistance. I was using my agility. I had mage druid buffs, food, shadow resistance, or the shadow protection. And that's it. I did all this stuff as marksman. Ideally, you will. If you're survival, good luck. If you're BM, that's a horrible idea because you're not using your pet. So that's pretty much all there was to it. So again, I'm going to start with the trap. I'm just going to go ahead and get my mana. This is a big deal. Ideally, you are not going to use health potions. You'll use mana potions because if you want to up your damage, you're going to use your mana. By using your mana, you run out. So bandages are a huge deal. So if you are getting too low, put that bandage on cooldown. So when you get low again, it's off cooldown, you can use it. Those are some things that I noticed from the last one we did, is that there wasn't enough bandage usage. So the mechanic on this guy is that when you wing clip him, he's rooted, always. So he's getting in range, I wing clip him, now he's rooted, it looks like a grounding totem icon on his debuffs, and he, as you can see, he hit me for 1,000 damage there, and there's his bugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be kiting the bugs, okay? So you got to realize where you interacted with them, that's not your central focus of your circle you're working around, right? So if he goes too far away from that circle, or you go too far away without interacting with him, now he's going to, reset. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So right now I'm not only slowed because I got ran into by the bugs, but I got feared there. Unfortunate. So right now I'm already down to 1,500 health. I ended up having the health pot here. I got hit for 500 on that hit. And now he's rerouted, and I'm just kiting the bugs. And what I'm going to do is try to play within the mountains so that I can get those elevation changes. Again, Hunter's Mark is on. That was it. And Wonderful Fear again. And I'm just auto-aimed. Auto-aimed. Same thing as Raid, guys. Just keep that Serpent Sting on him. It's going to be efficient for the damage, especially while you're feared or you're having to run and kite and that kind of thing. So I'm trying to make sure that he is going to allow me to get some hits off while I got the bugs kiting. Now I got it set up where by maximizing my distance from him, I'm also maximizing my range, and they're all playing within the mountains. I buy myself even more time to actually sit on them. So again, Wonderful Fears. This is why you want a warlock. And there's the bandage. So I'm getting a little low on mana, but as you can see, the fight goes on, the fight goes on, the fight goes on. Just kite the bugs, and eventually he'll go down. And that's kind of all there really is to it. Like, bring those consumables for this one. Highly recommend it. They can get pretty expensive, and there's not a lot on there. So I would definitely recommend using them when you become more comfortable with it. Having people there to protect you from Horde, and having people there to protect you from the other things so you can create a path around where you're trying to play is pretty ideal. But that's what I would recommend doing. So I hope this helped you guys out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. As always, I will be more than willing to help you guys out. Good luck once you get your leaf, and I'll see you in the next video.